Hi guys, welcome to the check-in. Today this is gonna be part three of the DJing and influencers. Um, and I'm also gonna talk a little bit about sort of music really besides electronic music. Although it's just gonna really be about probably just gonna be about piano and improvisations on the piano. I haven't studied music. I didn't study music theory. Not fully anyway. I mean, I used to be in a choir a long time ago. Um, yeah, I was in the choir at Holy Trinity Church in Hull, the city of Hull in East Yorkshire for I think about 2 years, about 2 to 3 years. Um, I mean, I studied keyboards a little bit and music at school, but not really. Um, yeah, not really studying music in a way that I should have done. But I did sort of study a little bit whilst I was a chorister, well, an adult chorister really, teenage chorister, whilst I was singing, I believe, first bass in the choir at Holy Trinity. Um, like I said in other music videos about DJing and music, my taste in music is vast, really. Honestly, if I like something, I like something. That's a very simple way of putting it. But if I really enjoy a piece of music, then that's it. I enjoy it, and that's really all there is to it. Of course, it's more complex than that, but basically, if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't, and it's very difficult to change that. In regards to, let's talk about the piano first. My first experiences that I can remember with listening to the piano, as far as I can tell, was from 1990, maybe could be 1993, 1994, certainly the early 90s, but and that could just have been from listening to something, but certainly listen to something on the radio or something on the TV. I'm not really sure. You said there's all sorts of subconscious, thoughts and memories and sort of emotions that have been hidden for a long time that from my childhood, that sometimes those things come back to me unexpectedly, and sometimes I think I've forgotten about those memories, and I haven't actually forgotten. They've just been stored away. Apologies for my razor rash, by the way. I've just noticed I have a bit of a razor rash. But yeah, but really, Mrs. Mayfield, the music teacher, or one of the music teachers that was at my primary school, which was on a council estate in the east of Hull. Uh, that school was great, and it still is a great school. It was a fantastic. That was the best part of my education, around my primary school years. Um, I think it's the best in terms of education. Just as a child, I think those are the best years in my opinion. Anyway, it's quite a magical time. As a child in your own head, it's quite a magical time. And certainly looking back on it, I loved that time. I loved being that age, and I don't want to go back to it, but I'm glad that I've got those beautiful memories to carry with me, hopefully for the rest of my life, however long that is. And I do miss those things. I do miss that time. So many reasons, and one of the things that I've took from that school was actually, well, actually I was actually first in a choir at that school. So that's probably where my love for choral music and piano music actually started. In fact, if it, I take a guess that if I hadn't have been introduced to choral music and piano music there, I probably would never have actually ever been interested in it. I would have come across it eventually, but I don't know if I would have had the same level of interest. So thank you, Oldfleet, or rather, thank you for the people that organised the music department or whatever it was, the headmaster, head teachers. But yes, that was a great time. The old upright piano and the sound of the upright piano. I seem to prefer listening to the upright piano for certain pieces of music, and I really love improvising on the piano. I've actually got an app on my telephone that I sometimes use, just really playing around and just making my own. I've sort of just kind of come up with my own, I guess, a sound world or something, but of course it's not original because it's influenced by pretty much probably everything I've ever heard, and like I said, things subconscious memories as well, probably. I think we should be careful with that word originality. I don't think it's thrown around a lot, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of originality out there. I don't think a lot of people that have been coined with that term aren't actually really truly original at all. It's just they've just added something to something that already existed, so it's not really original. It's just influenced with some sprinkle on top. But certainly improvising on the piano and touching the piano from being a kid, not in that way, but just this ability to just make a sound, something so beautiful with such little effort. Of course, playing the piano professionally is a completely different ball game altogether. Obviously, it's performing at the concert level. A career pianist it takes obviously years of advanced practice and education, but it's still a skill and it's still something that can be learnt. Although it certainly helps if you have talent and well, enough of an interest to want to pursue that. It's like everything, you have to have the right amount of interest to be able to pursue it beyond a hobby. I certainly listened to the piano as a kid. It was a great experience, and I've carried on being interested in piano music and the piano itself, more with the grand piano though, over the years, because it's more obviously grander sound and so much more colour in the grand piano, as there should be with a name like grand piano. But it's just the depth and the emotion that can be brought out from the piano. And of course, many other instruments can bring out the human experience and just as well, if not better. Perhaps the orchestra or the voice, the human voice is actually the best way of doing that. Which I think one of the reasons I like choral music so much is it's such a natural timbre and just sound. That's what I like about choral sound, is this this non-vibratory type of sound, is clean, sustained sound. So there's probably a link between why I like and why I'm interested in these things altogether, or maybe it's just completely different things. I'm not sure, but I do think too much, I know. But yeah, I've improvised on the piano over a period of about 15 years. I started improvising from when I was a teenager, and I think I've kind of not perfected, but I have a way of improvising. So I say improvising. It's not really improvising if it's a set technique, but I have a technique in which to improvise, and I think I've come up with some chords and things over the years. I mean, it's not new, or it's not like nobody else has come up with them, but I think I've just done it perhaps in a different order than maybe some people have done before. I'm not sure, maybe, or maybe I'm just highly delusional. And anyway, but I love improvising on the piano, or even on keyboards. I especially love deep string, soft string sounds. I really love the organ as well. The French organs, incredible instruments, and British organs as well. Just something about especially with the Willis organ, ability to imitate the orchestra, but in a completely, in that way, unique, because even though it's imitation, it's the organ, it's still the organ, and everything together still sounds like the organ, doesn't sound like the orchestra. But you've got the ability to use stops like the oboe, the trumpet, and so forth. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. But yeah, I love to improvise on piano. I really love to get into that hypnotic, deep zone of just being in this world of sound, and just this comfort that it brings, and this just gives me something. It's very difficult to explain what I feel when I do that, but it's very special for me. And singing as well. I love singing, even though I'm not very good at it, but I like to sing. I really love Gregorian chant and that whole sound world, and slow, repetitive, especially when there's a long acoustic, and a nice sound of an abbey, or perhaps the Church of a Dome one, like St. Paul's, for example. You've got the Whispering Gallery. The sound just goes around and around. There's something about the acoustics reverberation that resonates with me for some reason. It's just that I'm obsessed with sound, and I don't know. But and on to DJing. I really got into DJing properly from about 2011, 2012. And it was really when I started listening to the record companies like Hospital Records, really, that I got into for example, drum and bass. I say overall, the main two genres that I really like is drum and bass and house, because house kind of kicked everything off. Well, it was really disco, actually. It was jazz and disco and rock and roll, and soul music as well. And some classical music that had influences of things like trance and techno, house, garage, bass music, and just electronic music in general. And it's thanks to people like Kraftwerk and Vangelis, Jean-Michel Jarre, among others, that helped to promote and advance, step by step, electronic music, and as a result, eventually into dance music. But yeah, things like Good Looking Records, Hospital Records, Inner Ground. These are all drum and bass record labels that are all pretty much very well known. But Ministry of Sound is one. Ministry of Sound, in regards to house, Ministry of Sound played a huge effort and influence over more of the commercial side of house and stuff, but a lot of stuff's been put out, thankfully, through Ministry of Sound that maybe would never have seen the light of day if it hadn't have been. So, a big shout out has to go to all these record companies that mean something, at least in my view. They mean something. They're about something. It's not just about, let's make a loop of a beat and add some of this, and add some of that, and add a vocal here. It's not really just about that. Dance music is not just about dancing. It's that's why I don't like the phrase dance music. It's not just about dancing. It's, to be able to want to dance, you've got to be you've got to have something about the music that pushes you, gives you energy, it drives you, it makes you feel something, and connects you to something. it's a memory or just an emotion, something about it that's strong. It's like a magnet or something. And that's, for me, that's when I, like I said I think it was in the first part, maybe it might be in the second. For me, the only really time I DJ to make a set to put online is when I sort of feel like I have to do it. There's something in me that feels like I have to make something. I have to produce something for some reason. I haven't produced any tracks yet, but that is something I want to do in the future. But I've made a lot of sets. I think I've made about 30 odds, maybe even close to 40 sets now, I believe. Which is very little, really, compared to actual DJs that I consider to be DJs. I DJ pretty much every day. But even then, people don't make quality sets, what I consider to be quality sets, all the time. In fact, they're very rare. But yeah, I've been to a couple of nights, and mostly drum and bass nights, really. And I've seen some of the biggest drum and bass DJs in the world, actually, including DJ Marky, Andy C. Not that it matters really, but and I've been to I went to one hospitality event in Brixton Academy in 2014, I believe. I think it was 2014. That was an incredible experience. Shout out to Adam Chatterton for that. Thanks for everything you did, man, honestly. I know we don't talk anymore, but thanks, dude. I really appreciate those times, and yeah, man, it's good. I hope you're doing well anyway, wherever you are, whatever you're up to these days, if you come across this video. Miss you, dude. But yeah, that hospitality is just incredible. In fact, I'd say it's probably the best drum and bass record company in existence, in my opinion. But yeah, I really do enjoy drum and bass, especially when you're exercising. Something about drum and bass, just rhythm, just drive in it, and keeps you on your feet, keeps you something just positive about it. Well, certainly with Hospital and Ministry of Sound used to put out great albums. You only have to look at the back catalogue of things like I think it's like the Annual and things like that they used to do. And things like just the Ministry of Sound house albums from like the early 2000s up to about 2004, 2005. And even not that long ago, when they made some of the early commercial dubstep albums, even them were pretty good, actually. Pretty good stuff. It's a shame because I feel like dance music is pretty much dead at this point, and for me, I don't DJ often because one, I'm not professional, I don't get paid for it, and two, I've got to be in the right zone for it, and finding the right tracks putting them in the right order takes time, but mostly finding the right records that I really like, that mean something to me for some reason. I just like listening to them, and I'll still like listening to them in the future. Those are difficult tracks to find. They're quite rare, and that's what I'm trying to look for, really. I'm trying to find just the best I can put. That, in my opinion, I think that is the best of the best. Or it's a house tune, or if it's a garage tune, dubstep tune. Stuff that in 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now will still be regarded as classics. And I suppose it is a bit of an ego trip, really, but it's entertainment, isn't it? It's all about attention and ego. Anyway, I think I've talked enough in this one, so thanks for watching, guys. Let's check out. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.